Hey, everybody, I'm John Granado. That's Josh Jordan. You can hear us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can also see Josh's work at sportsmaphouston.com. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Josh, there's a story in Yahoo that says the Astros are interested in Luis Castillo. Very interesting. That brings up a lot of questions. One thing I didn't think is that the Astros would need any starting. Look, all the starters that they've got with Lance McCullers on the shelf, with Odorizzi, you already got 6. That's 7. That would be 8. What does all this imply if they're really after Luis Castillo?
Ooh, this could mean a lot of things. This could have Verlander implications. This could have Lance McCullers implications. It's funny. We did a video last week about MLB trade rumors, top 50 candidates to be traded. And Castillo's the number 1 starting pitcher on the list. I didn't bring him up because, like you said, why would I think the Astros are looking for more starting pitching? But this really makes me wonder, especially after yesterday when Verlander was speaking at the All-Star game about, how he's kind of already thinking about next year. You have to wonder if a move like this is some insurance. If Verlander walks, it'll be something to pay attention to. And if McCullers, is this a sign that maybe he's not going to be ready this year?
Yeah, and it's also a sign that maybe the Astros are really going for it. What would it mean to the rotation to have Verlander, Fromber, Castillo, and possibly McCullers as your 4 starter, and McCullers as your 4th starter in the postseason? I mean, it ain't exactly Scherzer, DeGrom, and Bassett, but it's pretty darn close. It's 3 All-Stars and top of the line guy in Verlander. I mean, holy cow. Now, what would you have to give up? Since he's got a year left on the deal after this. So that makes him even more valuable.
It does, because it's not just a rental. You're right. I would say they're going to have to give up a lot because we're also seeing in the reports that the Yankees are interested. The Dodgers are interested. We know the Astros farm system is not stock full of prospects. Hunter Brown is probably the only one they're super interested in. So that makes me think, could we see an Odorizzi, a Javier, or a Garcia as part of this deal?
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly see somebody out of the rotation here. Do you want to give up Hunter Brown? Do you want to give up Pedro Leon? Julks is a little bit older. He's playing well, but he's 26 now, I think. He's getting up there now. I'm not sure how valuable he is in the organization, although he's hitting well. I don't know that I want to give up all of that, but if Verlander leaves next year, I think the window's closing. If Verlander leaves, you don't have that top of the line guy. You ain't winning at all with that big stud at the top of the rotation. And maybe Castillo, followed by Fromber, followed by McCullers, could be right there. I think they would still. If you're adding Castillo now, what would you add next break when you got Verlander now and you're adding Castillo?
Hopefully a bat, John. Like that's what we need, right? An outfield bat, or maybe something at first base to upgrade it. I know we've been talking about catcher. I just don't think they're going to do it, even though I would entertain it. It's out of the norm to trade for a catcher halfway through the season when they don't know the staff, that type of thing. That's not something you see very often. So I get why they would want to keep everything consistent with Machete, but man, first base, outfield, I'd love to see an upgrade there. But if they want to go pitching, I get it. It's all about pitching, but they must be really confident that Jordan's going to be back. Who knows with Uncle Mike what's going to happen. This raises more questions than anything for me. Or are they just doing this because they know the Dodgers and the Yankees are in on it and they kind of want to be involved in the negotiations?
Or raise the tide. They might be raising the tide for all of them so that they have to give up more. We got more to talk about with this. Don't you go anywhere. But first, I got to talk about Cold, Clean, Crisp, Refreshing Coors Light. It is the world's most refreshing beer. I'm keeping Texas chill. I'm doing my part. That's all I can do. That's all I can do is every night. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm going to have a Coors Light. If I'm grilling outside, if I'm playing golf, if I'm playing poker, if I'm just sitting around watching Netflix, whatever it is, Cold, Clean, and Refreshing Coors Light is the world's most refreshing beer. I got to get me one. You got to get you one too. If you haven't tried it yet, you need to. Pick up a 12-pack or a case so you always got it around when people come over. They will never, ever, ever hate you for having a Coors Light on hand. Get those Blue Mountains going. Which arm would you give up, Javier, Garcia, or Urquidy?
If
you could get for Castillo.
I couldn't get it out quick enough for Urquidy. That's where I would go. And he also hired Scott Boras the other day. So I don't know how long for Houston he is. I know he's got several more years of arbitration, so that's a ways away. But just the thought of Scott Boras being hired scares me a little bit. You know me, I've been pushing Javier. I love Garcia. Urquidy's the guy I think I would be more likely to move there. How about you?
Yeah, I would probably go Urquidy as well. I think Garcia. I mean, the Javier stuff, even though he's struggled a couple of times here recently. Urquidy's looked pretty good though too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I want to give up any of them. If you want to know the truth, I think the rotation is just fine. And does this prohibit you from doing what you were talking about? Does this? Hey, I wouldn't mind bringing Ramon Laureano back. You got a center fielder that can hit. He's a pain in the ass anyway for the Astros. I hate him at the plate when the Astros are pitching to him. I would love to have him back. I love his motor. I love his bat. I think he would be really good in the clubhouse. Josh Bell. I mean, if you're giving up, what are you giving up? You're giving up Urquidy and Hunter Brown and Pedro Leon. You got nothing left to deal now. So you know what? I'm all for not doing the Luis Castillo deal and going out and getting a Ramon Laureano. I don't think you have to give up all that much for him.
No, I'm with you there. They need more hitting. Jake Myers is really he hasn't been as great lately. I'm starting to have some concerns about him if he's going to be the answer there in center field. So we'll see, but it also makes me something about they love trading for these starters, right? Or they like using starters as relievers? Because if they did do this deal for Castillo, does that mean more of your starters are going to be the guys coming out of the bullpen in the playoffs, like we saw with McCullers and Morton back in the day? It seems like that's how the Astros like to do things. So I'm curious to see how this is going to shake out.
Yeah. Our own Jeremy Branham has been campaigning for the Astros to be sellers at the deadline, get rid of Odorizzi for a second-tier prospect to help restock the farm system. I'm not sure what second tier, but does that mean a guy that's not going to make the major leagues? I'm not sure what second tier means. And why not just leave Odorizzi, just DFA him if you're going to get somebody. And I don't know what that means, but I don't know that you get rid of pitching, even if Jake Odorizzi isn't going to be happy, even if he's not going to be on the roster, on the playoff roster. I think, you got to worry about having anybody else injured. You got to worry about Lance McCullers not coming back. I certainly wouldn't trade Odorizzi just to get rid of him.
No, I wouldn't either, unless it was for something I think they need, like a left-handed relief pitcher. We talked about Chafin last week on the channel. That's something I would love to see them get, a left-handed reliever out of the bullpen just for those tough situations in the playoffs. And, Jeremy's take, I actually made a Sports Map article out of it, and I kind of listed his 3 reasons why he would want to do this. And he would think the Astros would get a pretty good prospect for Odorizzi because he's pitched well this year. And over the course of his career, he's been pretty good. And of course, starting pitching, it's always in demand. His second reason is that the Astros could use that money they were paying Odorizzi to maybe add an arm next offseason, something like that. Or if they want to make a deal at the deadline, that would give them a little more flexibility there. And then his main other point, which may be his best point, is that most of the Astros' top prospects in the organization, they're a little older. They're, several of them are already on the roster with the Astros, or they're in AAA. So in theory, it would be nice to replenish the farm system with some younger guys.
Yeah. I don't know that Jake Odorizzi is going to do that. What's going to do that is years of drafting really good players. I mean, and the Astros were without a first and second rounder for a couple of years. That really set you back. But now, by all accounts, I think you're going to be better with the draft that James Click just had. They look like at least a couple of good prospects. Then he loaded up with pitching as well. I don't know that a Jake Odorizzi. Listen, I'm going for it now. Jeremy doesn't believe that this window is closing. I believe it's closing. You're going to lose Brantley. You're going to lose Yuli. You're going to lose Verlander. You're going to lose Maldonado. These are core players. Altuve is not much longer to be the Altuve that he is right now. So you don't know what's going to happen with Bregman. I mean, there are so many ifs, and you need to have great players to win a World Series, and that window is definitely closing. you're not restocking. Jake Odorizzi's not restocking this. Going for it now, and you might need Jake Odorizzi if anybody else goes down. So I'm not doing it.
You brought up Verlander. I just quickly wanted to run this past you. Would you be okay with running it back with Verlander? If Crane said, "All right, Justin, let's do it again. I'll give you 2 years, $66 million, like the deal they did before." Would you be okay with that? I mean, he'll be 40 next year, but I think he's kind of shown, he's still performing really well. And after I watched Nolan Ryan leave here years ago, you see what Tom Brady's doing in the NFL. I might be inclined to want to keep JV around. How about you?
Yeah. It's 66 million is a big number, but Jim Crane's paid it before. So, and I don't mind. It's Jim Crane's money. It ain't mine. I don't, I would absolutely like to keep him for a couple more years. Now the window is open a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer he can be this, but you're right. Tom Brady's still at the top of his game, and Justin Verlander don't look like he's slowing down at all. Now, he seems to be a little perturbed because in this comment that he made at the All-Star, I don't know, and it's every 5 days or every 4 days or every 5 days or every 6 days or every 8 days now I'm pitching. It seems like it might be perturbing him a little bit. But in the long run, this is good for Justin Verlander, that he's going to be more refreshed come playoff time. It's still, you know what? It may help you this year, but this the way that they're going about it right now may kill you in the long run because Justin Verlander might not want to be here. He might want to pitch every 5th day, which it's a catch-22.
It really is. I'm curious to see how that'll shake out. I hope he sticks around because, he's having a great year. What if he ends up winning the Cy Young? Of course, he'll have to get enough starts to do that. But that's another thing that could piss him off too, John, right? Is if he's close to that Cy Young and they keep throttling him down and suppressing his numbers.
Yeah, no, and it absolutely will compress his numbers. He's got the strikeout numbers. He's got the wins. If he hits 20 wins and with fewer innings, but McClanahan is, pitching every 5th day and he's putting up bigger numbers, they might give it to McClanahan, although McClanahan is could be a flash in the pan. We don't know what McClanahan's going to do in the long haul. We know what JV is, and he's got a name. So it sucks, but it's the best thing that they're doing for the ball club right now is giving JV a chance to be great at the end of the season when we need him most.